Good evening, everyone. I'm jumping on tonight to talk a little bit about one of the biggest things I see with business owners that are starting a business, so startups, solopreneurs, is that fear that something's going on or something's not going to work, or they just can't quite get over that hump as that startup, or they are like, maybe this isn't the right business, or maybe this isn't the best plan for me, or whatever. It's like they almost talk themselves out of what they're doing because of fear. And usually a lot of us have heard, false evidence appearing real. I know there's another one that's out there that I can't remember right now, but usually fear is not living in the present moment. So the present moment is now, what's going on right this second. And usually we're thinking of something that either happened before or something that maybe we're projecting will happen tomorrow, instead of like staying in the present moment. And I've been there, trust me. And that's one of the biggest challenges as a business owner, is staying focused in the present moment and knowing that, hey, maybe I don't have the money in my bank account today, but that doesn't mean I may not have it in my bank account later today or tomorrow or the next day. And it's really staying focused on where am I right now and what is the solution right now to get me to that next step. And some of that's having that clear business plan. So what is it that you are doing? It doesn't mean you have to have a 50-page business plan, but having a clear business plan. What are my goals? What are my steps and action steps to get to those goals? And how can I do something every single day to make that happen? Because usually if I ask someone, hey, what have you been doing to make your goals happen? I often hear, well, I did a little bit of this, or I did a little bit of this. And they've spent half an hour here, an hour here, but they haven't consistently driven to make the business work. So knowing that clear business plan and knowing what are my goals, what are the action steps to make those goals happen is critical. And I want to know, if I want to set a year goal, I want to actually reverse engineer that entire year goal back to what do I need to do today to get to that number. And obviously the easiest way to do it is to then break it down into quarterly goals, or monthly goals, things like that to get there. And then focusing on what do I not know how to do that I need to know how to do to get there, like skill development. So maybe going live, for example, is a good skill to have for someone trying to market their business. Well, how do I do that? How do I do it across 8 platforms? I talked about that the other day. How do I use a platform like StreamYard, which I'm using tonight, to do this? That's a skill development. That's probably the easiest thing, because we have control over doing that, right? You can watch a video like I explained the other day. You can go on the website of the company, like a StreamYard. They have videos on how to use their platform. You can play around with their platform, do a free trial. It's so easy. Skill development should be the least of your concerns, because most of the time it's not like you need to be in class for 6 months to make something happen. Unless you don't have a certification, that's a whole different issue. But you just need to develop the skills while you continue to move forward with your goals. And probably the biggest thing I would say is build a support network. Support network can be an accountability partner. It can be like a mastermind. It can be other business owners that you've connected with through networking that you guys have as accountability partners. It could be a business coach like myself. There's so many support networks out there, but if you're a solopreneur or a startup company, you've got to have a support network, because oftentimes we as business owners, we feel alone. We feel like out there and what's going on? I don't have enough support here. And that's when those little voices in your head start operating, and they're like, hey, well, what if we don't have money tomorrow to pay the office rent? Or what if we don't, have this or that? And I've been there, trust me, I've been there. And it used to freak me out. I wouldn't be able to sleep at night. I would just be panicking in my head. I'd wake up, so maybe I'd go to sleep and then I'd panic in my head and I'd be like, oh my God, what's going on? How am I going to make this money? And in the end, it all worked out, but it was just those voices in my head that would go off because I wasn't staying in the present moment and living in the now. Because in the now, what's the problem? In the now, you may not have the money, but that doesn't mean, you're not going to get the money to pay whatever the bill is, or you're not going to get be able to fulfill the client, the steps for the client that, whatever you sold the service. It's stay in the now and figure it out. Look for the positive, look for like what the solution is. Because as soon as we go to the problem, what does that bring? If we focus on the problem, hey, I don't have the money. Oh my God, I don't have the money. What am I going to do without the money? Well, guess what? That brings more problems, meaning that we continue to focus on no money. And what does that attract? It attracts no more money. So I want to focus on the solutions. And I've learned that over the 10 years I've been in business is I have to focus on the solutions. As soon as I hit that wall, I have to focus on the solutions. I have to be like, okay, it is what it is. I'm here now. What do I do to move forward? What do I do to make this work? So now I'm solution focused. I'm always looking for, because as soon as I put it out there, what I'm looking for, guess what? I can attract those solutions. And that's ultimately what I want to do. I want to put it out there and I want to attract the solution and make that solution happen. So that's what I want you to think about is how do you attract the solution? And then everyone fails. So don't feel like, I think when we first start in business, we, something happens and, a mistake happens, whatever, we lose a client and we're like, oh my God, it's the end of the world. I can't deal with it. No, failure is a learning opportunity. And trust me, you're going to fail over and over and over again in business ownership. It doesn't just happen once. That'd be great if it only happened once or a couple of times. But even in year 5 or year 7, there's still going to be failures in your business because you're learning new things. Because as you progress in business, you always go up. You're continuing to build on your skills. You're continuing to set new goals. You're continuing to move forward. And that's when things can happen where you're like, oh, there's another setback. That's okay. It's a learning opportunity. It's not a setback. It's a learning opportunity. And then how do you move forward from there? And probably one of the most important, if not the most important things is make sure you're practicing self-care, whatever that is for you. I mean, for me, I've got to have my exercise of some kind. I like to walk a lot. I like to, I do some band work. I go to the gym sometimes. So that's my exercise. Make sure you set time for, I've been doing more journaling recently, which has been good because I used to journal all the time. Then I got away from it for a long time. So whether you're just talking about your day, whether you're talking about the positives of your day, I write down my gratitudes in my journal. So things like that. Again, you're staying centered on yourself, you're staying focused on yourself, but you're staying in the positive and you're staying in the here and now, which is probably the most important thing. Affirmations are a great thing as well. I am powerful, I am knowledgeable, I am strong, I am a great business owner. Those types of things are awesome as well. So I encourage you to write those into a journal as well. And then just acknowledge that, things can be scary, especially when they're new. And owning a business is probably, maybe owning a house is bigger because you're putting down, depending on how much the house costs. If you're a brand new owner and you've never owned a house before, you're like, oh my God, I just took a loan out for X amount of money. Well, owning a business is what you're paying that loan off with, right? Because now I have to replace my income of being a business owner or being an employee of a business with my own business. And that can be terrifying. So it's okay to acknowledge your fear and recognize that it's okay to be fearful. Because when you first start, it's totally okay to be fearful, but it's knowing what to do to really continue to move forward, because you've got to continue to move forward. You've got to focus on the solutions. You've got to stay in the present moment. You've got to practice that self-care. You've got to find that network that can help you stay focused, because I guarantee you, if you are fearful, there are other business owners out there just like you experiencing the very same thing. And that's the beauty of business ownership is, guess what? There's someone just like you experiencing the same thing. Find that person and be support for each other. And then take those small steps. As long as you're taking small steps each and every day, and I don't mean just letting you off the hook, meaning like, hey, I'm working on the business for 30 minutes today and that's it. If you have nothing else to do, meaning you're not working another job or something like that, I'd be working on the business 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours a day. Like if this is your job, that's where I'd be focusing on. Like, okay, I don't have enough clients. What do I need to do to get more clients? Do I need to go to more networking events? Let me schedule those. Do I need to, you figure it out. What is it you need to do? Do you need to make more phone calls? Do you need to have more one-on-ones? Do you need to do more live streaming like this? All those things can help you move forward. But those are all solution-focused items as opposed to staying in the problem. So today, I would just encourage you, if you're finding any fear in starting a business, in growing a business, in being a solopreneur, business owner, any of that, reach out to someone, get that support, stay in the present moment, stay focused on the solutions. The solutions will find you as long as you put it out there what you're looking for. Put it out there. If you think about law of attraction, I'm a big believer in law of attraction or whatever you want to call it. But if I know that I'm looking for X and I put it out there and then X shows up. It's like when you go and look at a car, if you go look at a red Mercedes, all of a sudden you start seeing red Mercedes everywhere because that's what you just focused on. It's the same concept in business. You just have to find what it is you need to focus on in the positive, in the solution, and put it out there. And that's how you're going to overcome the fear, because you're always staying focused on that next step, that next solution, and staying in the present moment of like, where are we now? Right now, there is no problem right this second. So I hope everyone is having a great day. Happy New Year that's coming up this weekend, and just stay focused, stay calm. And if you need any assistance in kind of moving forward in business, reach out to me. You can go to my website, theallisonturner.com. I am happy to help in any way I can. I do offer a complimentary consultation. So if there's something you want to just bounce off of me, please reach out. I love to help new business owners, someone that's thinking about going into business. Thank you very much. And I look forward to talking with you again tomorrow. Bye for now.